Hey, what is up, listeners, viewers? Jeff Zimfer coming at you, host of the Mortgage Marketing Radio podcast. It is time for another edition of What's Hot in Housing. Woo! Yeah. You know what? It's been a while since we've been here. As a matter of fact, last time we went live talking about what's hot in housing was St. Patrick's Day, and I've only just now recovered. So that just deserves a little, James Brown there. So we've got some hot topics to cover here today. You know what to do if you're where you're watching from. I see you watching right now. Let us know where you're watching from. Is it YouTube? Is it LinkedIn? Is it Facebook? Are you in one of the groups that we're streaming into? We've got a lot of good stuff for you to cover. And so we just want to give a couple of moments for some people to come on and where they're coming from. And as a quick reminder, if you haven't heard, ladies and gentlemen, there is a book out. There is a book out available for you to get. Disrupt or Die, How to Survive and Thrive, the Digital Real Estate Shift. That's what it's all about. You can get the book. Did I tell you you could get the book for free? Yes, free. James Brown in the studio today. Thank you very much. We like to, we raise the dead around here. That's what we do. So if you want to get the book for free, you know what to do. You can go to getdisruptordie.com, getdisruptordie.com, and you can get the book for free. Just pay for shipping. And if you are watching and you want to leverage that book as a way to drive conversations or presence, awareness with your local real estate agents, maybe you're a real estate agent, but most likely you're watching, you're a mortgage loan originator. I'm having a handful of loan officers who are now asking for quantities of that book at wholesale, which I'm making available to them, and they're distributing those to their agents. And we're also hosting some virtual classes for those loan officers. So once again, if that's interest to you, reach out to me on the socials, hit me up, DM me, whatever, but also check the book out at getdisruptordie.com where you can get it for free. Okay, real quick, let me say hello to our virtual, what's up, Andy Passmore, old friend. Woo! Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Hope you're doing well. I see Danny is here. Danny McDonough, what's up? Sean, Carrie. Of course, Carrie, one of my favorite people on the planet. What's up, Carrie? Live on LinkedIn. Thanks for letting me know where you're watching from. All right, folks, we are going to jump into it today. Today, as you know, we're talking about what's hot in housing. And today, I am very pleased and honored to bring to you a very special guest, Clayton Collins, CEO of Housing Wire. What is up?
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, man. I know you got a busy schedule, and it's wonderful to have you pop in here as well. Normally, we have Sarah Wheeler, she's amazing as well. You're kind of chief editor, chief content person over there. So we're mixing it up today, having you. All right. By the way, for those who haven't yet subscribed to Housing Wire, please subscribe to Housing Wire. They've got tons of great information. It's partly how I stay educated, and you should know they have an option for you called Housing Wire Plus. If you want the deep dive on all the juicies, that's where you get some more of the good content there to help you be educated in your career. All right, Clayton, we're talking about a few different things here today. Are you ready to dive into our topics?
No time like the present.
Let's do it, man. So let's talk about one of the latest evolvements that have happened, and that is a bill to help first-time home buyers. A lot of people are saying, do we need to help first-time home buyers anymore? Tell us what this is all about.
Yeah, so I think anytime, every election, I think there's a bill or a conversation that comes up around first-time home buyer tax credits or other types of incentives to help get first-time home buyers into homes. Very politically favorable topic to talk about, but in mortgage circles, it brings up the scenario or the conversation. What exactly is this? We're talking about a tax credit. We're talking about a grant. This one is definitely not a tax credit. It is a grant, but there's some dynamics that make it, I don't know, maybe a little less exciting for the housing community, or maybe it feels a little unnecessary for the housing community, but still has some positive components. So this grant, is down payment assistance program, is very focused on a segment of the population that is tested for need and doesn't have family members or parents who have owned homes. So I'll get into the exact details here. So the proposed down payment assistance program is means tested based on income and limited to those who have not owned a house in the last 3 years, and neither of the borrower's parents may have owned a home. And that qualification is waived if the parents lost their home to foreclosure or short sale. So this is a very specific program. In our coverage of the article, Dave Stevens commented to our journalist, Georgia, who covered the news, that these qualifiers really shrink the size of the program, which might be exactly what the housing industry kind of needs. Do we need a broad-based first-time homebuyer program that really adds gasoline to the fire? So there's two big perspectives here. One is the positive of this. So this is great PR for the administration. From a housing economy perspective, it's likely has a little impact, but the impact that it does have will likely be for the right people. So a net positive, not a bad thing. Sorry, let me turn off this part of my alerts that keep hitting my screen here. How is that? But the other side of the argument is, does this down payment plan just pour more gas on the fire, which is a rapid home price appreciation, low access market for first time home buyers already. So hey, there's more money out there for first time home buyers, but hey, things just got more competitive. So does that really help you? So there's two ways to look at this. Ultimately, I think for the housing economy, this will bring more first time home buyer interest to the market. But many of those people who come knocking, asking about this program are unlikely to qualify. So that's a scenario.
So some positives, it might generate some inbound calls, Yep.
Yeah. But it's gonna take LOs being informed on the topic. So borrowers can't make more than 120% of the area median income where they live. If they're in a high cost area, that goes up to 180%. So depending on your market, you have to know the rules. Like, hey, are you a 120 or a 180? You have to know the median income. And I'm confident that while LOs are not the folks that are going to be submitting these grant applications, they are the ones who are going to field the questions, which does just put another education and knowledge requirement on our originators who are already stressed for time.
Hey, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking, you know this because you're a savvy social media content guy. This is a great opportunity to create a video for you loan officers, right? Answering the questions. Hey, have you heard about the new Homebuyers grant? Who qualifies? Who doesn't? Boom. Get that on the social.
So there's a few folks out there. I don't even know this guy, but I'll give him a plug. He runs a TikTok handle. I think it's called My Mortgage Guy. I'm definitely messing that up. It's a TikTok handle. And this gentleman, he did a video on this article and then did a follow-up. And I think last time I looked, the first video had over 3 million views on TikTok, and the follow-up had about 500,000. So spot on with the idea of creating content around this. Clearly, in certain circles, first-time homebuyer incentives are an incredibly hot topic, and I think the younger demographic in TikTok is likely one of those demographics that wants to know about these first-time homebuyer tax credits. So which is the reason I think that played really well on TikTok.
So they got to go to their parents, those people on TikTok, and go, "Hey, have you bought we own this?"
So the most popular comment, one of our team members went through all the comments, and one of the most popular comments was, "Can I disown my parents? How do I disavow my parents? Can I divorce my parents?" And people feeling left out because they grew up with the social advantage of having parents with that owned a home, which I'm sure they were grateful for at the time, but when it comes time for a grant, doesn't really work in their favor.
So Andy's asking, is this legislation already approved?
I will drop. No, it is not approved yet.
Okay. So pending approval, stay tuned, Andy, if you got some customers there. And also, I'm not sure if you mentioned, but the dollar amount is $24K, I believe, which they get at closing. Is that right?
I believe it's actually 25.
My source is 25. Sorry, an extra grand.
Yeah. $25,000 first time home credit, first time grant. And it is, the lawmakers published a draft version of the legislation last Wednesday. So it's supposed to go into the U.S. House Committee on Financial Services that Maxine Waters chairs. I think we're expecting that in the coming weeks. The reason we talk about it today is that yes, this hasn't passed yet, but rest for sure that consumers are already thinking about it and talking about it, even though it is not in legislation yet. So the education starts before it's actually a reality.
Yeah. So once again, the takeaway from here, most won't qualify. It will probably generate some inbound questions for you. It's just definitely going to generate awareness for the average consumer, who watches the news and all that kind of stuff. So your opportunity, loan officer, as you heard, create a video, enter the conversation that's already happening in people's mind, and you'll get, benefit from that. Cool stuff. Okay, so let's talk about the next topic on our agenda here. Housing inventory is, ladies and gentlemen, starting to recover. Do we give it a half clap, full clap? What do we do? Is it really? Come on, Clayton. What are we talking about here?
So there's one big important thing to pay attention to in 2021, and that is a rule in your head of be cautious of year-over-year statistics. We are in April of 2021 right now. Let's all take a flashback to where we were in April of 2020 when many of us thought the world was going to end. And the question wasn't, hey, do we have enough housing inventory? The question last year at this time, 12 months ago, was, are LOs essential workers? Are real estate agents allowed to show houses? Can appraisers go out and do an inspection? Like, these were literal questions like, can the industry continue functioning? So construction companies and builders were also asking themselves those same questions. Supply chains got messed up. We all know that. It's part of the compounding factor of why, one of the many compounding factors of why inventory is low today. But we have to be very cautious of year-over-year metrics. So we're going to focus in on month over month and some long-term trends. One of the really positive factors in this recent report is that the number of permits for single family homes increased 4.6% since February. So since prior month, we're starting to see permits pick up. This is a great sign, but we also know that new home inventory is not permits that are taking out in April are not ready for sale in June. So it doesn't really solve our 2021 problem, but it does mean that builder confidence is there and they're taking out permits despite some of the headwinds they face, a big one being lumber and building materials and labor. Anyone who's listened to me talk in the last month or two or follow the input side of the housing industry closely has heard about what's happening in the lumber market. The price of lumber and materials for an average new home is up about $24,000 compared to the same time last year. So you're talking about houses that used to spend 40 to 50K on lumber, now spending like 70 to 75K on lumber. That's a massive percentage increase. Lumber is the gold of 2021, which just puts another stress on housing inventory and potentially a factor that makes it harder for builders to build affordable new housing stock. So you might see that new housing stock coming in a little bit higher territory than a lot of planned community and new home developments have in the past, because that's just what it takes to break even and have a profit on some of these projects. Yeah, where are we going on this one? Inventory. Yeah, I mean it's getting better. Housing starts ended 2020 on a high note. The permits are going up, like we just talked about, and there's starting to be some indicators that there's more inventory coming on market in the coming months as we get closer to summer. Larry Yoon from NAR provided some commentary on this, and the positive for the housing industry is that demand is so high in most markets that 20% more inventory, which is what he's predicting, will result in 20% more home sales. So it's a 1-for-1 correlation that you don't see in most markets.
Wow. I don't want to put you on the spot, but was there a timeline he had around that 20% forecast increase in inventory?
I'll have to get back to you on that one. I don't have that note in front of me.
No worries. That's what I do, man. I keep people on their toes here.
I can remember a lot, but not everything.
Yeah, no, you're doing awesome. You're doing awesome. So, Andy's asking about regional insights. I don't know if we have those. Obviously, real estate is local. So I don't know if you want to have a comment on that, Clayton, or no, we don't have any regional insights. That's cool.
There's a lot of regions. We do some regional coverage. So suggest Andy to check out Housing Wire's real estate section for that local market view to see. Where is Andy? Do you know where he is?
He's in Georgia.
He's in Georgia. I hear Athens is hot right now, but no, Andy, I don't have regional stats on Georgia right now, but I'm happy to pass that question over to the newsroom and see if we can get some coverage up there.
So somebody's asking about where they can find I love this. This must be a high C loan officer on the disc profile. The exact verbiage of the 25K grant. I know your article on Housing Wire is really good about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if I can I drop here in the chat?
Yeah, man. Go ahead. You got a link, please?
Yeah. This is saying private chat, but let me know if that goes through.
Just do it to all. I'll grab it. Or we'll post it a link in the replay or something. But anyway, the point is this: housingwire.com, right? There's where the articles are. That's where you'll find a lot of the good info. If you want some of those more specifics there.
And to make it even easier, this topic is the reason it's number one on our agenda today is because it is hot with the audience. So if you go to our homepage, we have a section called trending news. This is literally a trending algorithm of based off momentum and readership. And it is the first article on there. It's been the first article on there for the last 6 days. So if you go to our homepage and go to trending news, here it is, a bill to help first-time home buyers. It is the full version of the proposed bill.
Love it. So go to Housing Wire Trending News. That's where you'll find those details. And I've got a question for the audience for participation. Somebody, we might just have a lucky winner, might win a free copy of the book. Whoever wins. And don't lie. Ladies and gentlemen, what's the most offers you've seen on a home? Put your answer in right now. Of course, anybody can fudge the numbers. 73, right? I'd be curious to see what the most offers on a home wins. First one to answer actually wins free copy of my book. There we go. I see it came in right here. Who is it? 28. 28. Whoa. Unbelievable. So you are on Facebook and you have not allowed StreamYard to see your name and who you are. So I can't identify you. But if you would like to identify yourself, please enter your name or contact me, DM me on Facebook, Instagram. You know how to find me and let me know who you are. We'll get you a free book. Disrupt or Die, Survive and Thrive. The Digital Real Estate Shift. Kerry Cobb says 33. Andy says 80. Somebody beat the first answer with 40. Unbelievable. What? Okay, come on. Now these numbers just aren't true. 114, 122.
Somebody really want your book. This is good.
Oh my gosh. Sherry Clark, I see you say 114. That's, what are we seeing here? Sonoma County is crazy. Yeah, no doubt. Wine country. Go figure, right? That's what they're doing, drinking wine and submitting offers up there. All right, that's good stuff. So
everybody they learned how to drink and Amazon and order stuff late at night after a few glasses of wine. So now it's translating over to the housing market.
Yeah, exactly.
The real Amazonification of housing.
Yeah, and Andy asks an even better question. He's curious about how many offers are over list price. Hey, that is the real question right there. And that's insane. I mean, I have a lot of people in Southern California and I'm seeing 100,000 over asking, like pretty regularly, And Sherry says, it's all about the wine. It's wine time anytime, right? All right. So let's switch to our last topic. We saved the best for last. Ladies and gentlemen, Clayton Collins, tell us why the housing market will not crash in 2021. Oh my gosh. By the way, before you get to it, I want to set this up because I know you know this too. I don't have the stats right in front of me, but the percentage of increase in searches or whatever on Google or YouTube of like how many people are searching that term, it's crazy. 2,000% increase or something.
Yeah. So the Google analytics number was a 2,400% increase in the search term for housing crash. We kind of laughed when we saw this published by CNBC and other outlets because we've been seeing the same trend inside of our on-site search, the search term for housing crash. But one thing that we have an advantage on is we have some known audience data, so we can kind of see the segments of audience that are searching for that type of term. And it's not all consumer. We're also seeing segments of like our real estate investor audience, like search for those terms. So I think there's I think as Logan Motoshami likes to call some of these searchers the housing bubble boys. I think that a lot of this search activity is coming from the folks who bought well during the housing crisis in the REO market and are thirsty and hungry for that dynamic to come back. So we definitely have a little segment of that audience in our Housing Wire audience, and they're waiting for that business opportunity that the data just isn't really supporting that's going to come. So if Sarah was your guest today, she would be able to be the journalist and just show the fact, tell you the facts. Since I'm a banker turned media owner, I'll share my view, and my view is hell no, the housing market is not going to crash, and I'm fortunate to have Logan to back me up with the data and some of the insight on that perspective. So it's very clear that this is a seller's marketplace. That doesn't necessarily make it a bubble. And in Logan's view, it doesn't even make it a booming sales demand cycle, because what we still have coming up the pipe in terms of demographics just keeps getting better in terms of bringing new buyers to the market in terms of household formation. And there's a lot of parts of this market with rapid home price appreciation and low inventory that like give off bubble-like symptoms. But the fact is the demographics are what's really driving this, and the folks who were projecting out what to expect in terms of housing demand in 2020 to 2024 saw this 4 to 6 years in advance. It just happened to, like everything in 2020, happened a little bit faster than people expected because of the acceleration that was brought forward by COVID and all the changes that happened in our economy over the last year. So the story is all about inventory and demographics, not really about speculative demand, which we saw so much of in the last the cycle that was the housing crisis.
The one I lived through. Yeah, so our Facebook user here it just backs up what you're saying. Best demographics in history, lowest mortgage rates ever. The perfect storm in a positive way, right? And now with the economy kind of coming back post-COVID, the job market improving, all these factors coming into play. And then, of course, there's the psychological demand or you know, the when you see everybody else buying a house, your neighbor, your friend, whatever, everybody's jumping up, right? That whole crowd mentality just kicks in, and now everybody's like, I just want it, you know?
Yep.
I don't care how much over asking it is. So once again, folks, that's how you want to stay informed. Logan Montashami, who's been on this show, gosh, at least twice. He's been on my podcast. Go check his article out on Housing Wire, Why It Won't Crash in 2021. Here's why. Even though there are appraisal gaps and bidding wars, it's still not going to be a housing crash. So again, here's another idea for you to get informed and create a video with that topic, that headline. Let's pause and do a little marketing teach for a moment. And I know you get this as well. Speaking of the Google searches increasing 2,400% of housing crash, if any of you here are you ever get stuck with, well, what do I post? What do I share? What do I say on social media? There's this thing called newsjacking. Clayton knows that very well, which is whatever's the big story in the news, you jump on that story because your story is going to come up right higher in the search and all that kind of stuff. People are going to notice it. Like that white Lexus you just bought. Now you see 100 white Lexuses everywhere, right? So if
I've talked about that topic a few times with Dave Savage and other folks, and I look at our place at Housing Wire in the market is to keep professionals informed and bring them the information, insight, and perspective you need to be effective with clients and referral partners and to run your business. And what success looks like for us is that housing professionals turn to us every day. And if you take that information, take that content and share it with your referral partners and share it with your consumers, whether that's in one-on-one conversation or through social media, that's a win. And we did our job and helped you run a better business. So like, I love when we see professionals in the industry take things that they read on Housing Wire and use that to further their career and the education of their clients. So we love that theme.
Absolutely. And there's a ton of content. If you're ever strapped with content ideas, I'm looking at the Housing Wire page right here, and there's like 6 staring me right in the face, let alone we've given you a few here today already. By the way, real quick, we have identified the winner of the book, Jessica Sherrill. Woo! Lucky winner. She DM'd me on Facebook, and I just looked at it right here, Jessica Sherrill, with shockingly Movement Mortgage. There's no fix there, folks. It's just, congratulations on the first one. She's fast on the keyboard. Jessica, I know your mailing address, so I'm going to get you a copy of that book. Hey, by the way, before we go, we have to, of course, do my favorite meme of the day. Love this. Welcome to the 2021 housing market where cash is king and appraisals don't matter, right? Okay. All right. So listen, before we go, I want to check the comments. Last questions, thoughts. Great. I'm getting some smiley faces. Yes, Kip Pearson, the reticular activating system in full effect. You know. We got a fan of Logan's out there. They're giving a shout out to Logan on this. So before we close out, people, we want to remind you once again, Clayton Collins, right, CEO of Housing Wire. If you haven't yet subscribed, do so. Go there. And you know what? Pony up for the Housing Wire Plus, because not only do you get Housing Wire magazine, you get a deeper dive on the content, not just the teaser content, but right, a deeper dive, the full articles, all that kind of. You want to go ahead and take over?
Yeah, no, and I wouldn't call it like the teaser. I mean, we're doing like we've been covering news for free access to the housing community for 10 plus years, and we'll still cover the daily news every day. What we do with the HW Plus is go a level deeper, and so the daily news will be the quick hit. We'll get it to you the day it happens. But the next day, when we go deep and talk to half a dozen sources to really get the 360 view, that's our HW Plus content. And I don't know if I've shared this stat elsewhere, but we'll invest over $4 million in content production this year, and journalists and storytelling. And HW Plus is a big part of how we can fuel attracting great journalists and content creators into the housing economy and growing together. So that's our strategy.
Awesome. We need to be educated today, right? We need to be able to provide a meaningful, intelligent answers to the objections, questions, noise that people come at you with about what they're seeing and reading in the news. You know, get the Housing Wire, you can get some facts. And then, of course, don't forget, with the HW Plus, you get access to some of your live events or virtual events too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And for the next one coming up is how HWengage.marketing in June, which is the mortgage origination marketing world, and a few more coming up later in 2021. What year is it? 2021.
You ever stop and you're like, did you ever try and remember 2020? And you're like, there's not a lot. Not much is coming up.
Hey, I mean, we bought another company and launched a new business and hired 25 people. So 2020 is a blur for me for different reasons.
Yeah, I get it. And then some people just block it out. So anyway, listen, we are out of time. Clayton, I very much appreciate you for being here and being our special guest for What's Hot in Housing for April 2021. And listeners, you know what to do. Hey, check out Housing Wire. Check out the book if you haven't yet. We got to bring that up for you one more time. GetDisruptOrDie.com, and make sure you subscribe to the podcast if you haven't. So Clayton, we'll be in touch. See you on the next one. Everybody, bye for now.